good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Stick With It, episode 11. We have Mary here with us as always, and then the lovely Gretchen. I am so excited to get to meet you. I know Mary is as well. We've been working with you for years, and I just thought for Valentine's Day, you would be the perfect candidate to chat with because you just got recently engaged. Is that correct?
I
did. Congratulations. I think you're such an amazing role model as far as like living your life fearlessly with diabetes and finding confidence with diabetes. So your take on dating with diabetes for Valentine's Day, I think is going to be a good one. But before we get into our topic and I start, picking your brain, let's go ahead and do a little sugar check. Do you have your genteel with you?
I do.
Perfect. Here. Let's do
Match
it.
My outfit perfectly too.
I know. I love it. That's what I love about genteel is that you can style your diabetes too. It makes sense.
Oh, that is like the number one thing. I mean, like obviously the way it works is fabulous, but like that was the number one seller for me. Is like I can decorate it and make it cute. Like that's just it's so fun.
Yes, I totally agree. And I love that you have those cute stickers on yours.
Oh yeah, exactly. I have the stickers, gotta accessorize all the
do it.
Maybe sometime we can come up with like a limited release, like smiley face type 1 type happy, like.
Oh, that would be so cute.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I'm so down for that.
Yeah. I think I saw recently you have a CGM sticker, smiley face sticker.
Yeah.
I think that would be very on brand. Got to get it everywhere.
Of course. And like I always say, like, I mean, diabetes is hard. It sucks. And like, there's so much to like be negative about. There's so much to frown about. Like I've had so many tears and like there's just so much negativity with it. And yeah, that's why might as well just brighten it up just a little bit. If it's just a little smiley face, like it's just a way to like look at it and be like, that makes me happy, or just like feel okay about things. Like as we get older, like we always want to express ourselves with clothes or like match everything. And so like when we get older, like of course we want like cute accessories. Like that's what we do. I feel like when we're older.
Exactly. And I guess that kind of leads us into one of the first things I wanted to talk about, which is confidence with diabetes. I feel like decorating and styling your diabetes definitely lends to having confidence with it. But like, what are some of the ways that you find confidence with diabetes and your devices and your gadgets and just in general?
Confidence with diabetes is something that I've definitely like struggled with, like in the beginning. So I was diagnosed kind of later in life too. I was diagnosed when I was 23. So like I already lived so much of my life being like normal. And so then kind of being a young adult trying to get into this new like world of like the real world. And then having this new disease like was so like just heart stopping for me. And like I was like, I'm trying to make it as a young girl, trying to like even date and try to like live my life, but now I have to deal with this other thing that I don't understand. I don't get, like, how can I explain to other people? And I've always struggled with it. And honestly, like the biggest things that have helped me like build my confidence was like seeing other people like online or even in person, like with wearing their devices and like literally just living their life. Like, I mean, I know everyone knows that like Nick Jonas or whatever has diabetes, but like I always thought that was, it's just being able to see something like that. Like they're living their life, like they're following their dream and like they can wear their devices and let's like, so can I can do that. And so when I would see people out and about with a device, I'm like, wow, they can just walk down the street and they're wearing it. No big deal. Like normal. I'm like, I can do that. Like they can do it. I can do it. And
I loved that photo that you shared recently with you and was it a wedding dress it's not the wedding dress, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah.
Okay. I figured you'd be keeping that a secret.
Is it the look in your eyes?
that leads into normalizing it so much. Like I can only imagine that like what a thought that might be in someone's head is my device doesn't match my dress, but yeah, it does. It looks amazing. It shows how badass you are, and the fact that you can style it and decorate it and personalize it just makes it that much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like, it just helps encourage younger people, current people, older people, like when they see something like that, to be like, that's amazing. I can do that as well. And it's not weird to do that. It's not different. It's normal and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention that too, Gretchen, as you talk about like Nick Jonas and getting confidence from seeing other people. I think you provide that for a lot of younger people online. You are very confident. You own it. You're not afraid to show your numbers, to show highs, lows when you're having a bad day. Or I think I've watched you talk about having anxiety around like checkups or appointments. Owning it. And I think that really is an inspiration for a lot of younger people online too.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I try to do. It's like, I'm just living my life and I have diabetes and I'm going to like share about it. We always have it with us. We're always dealing with it. So might as well just share it. And cause I know everyone else is going through it too. And it's just feels so much better to talk about it. And it just makes me feel good too. Like, cause I'll be sharing something. I'm like, I don't know if other people feel this way, but I'm just going to share it. And then when I hear other people like have the same experiences or like, oh my God, I'm so glad you shared that. I'm like, that made me feel good too. Cause like, otherwise I wouldn't know. I'm just sharing what happened to me.
That's so true. Like you don't know until you put it out there and online and into like your community, you have no way of knowing that you can like relate to people. So being a part of this online community, I think is amazing. And another part of just the way like I perceive you is that like you are not your diabetes. You are a girl living her life who happens to have diabetes. And the fact that you share like so many facets of your life, I think also helps to normalize like if someone has diabetes, that's just one tiny little facet of their life. Of course, it can take up a lot of your life, as you know, but it doesn't have to define you. And I love that about the content that you put out there.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a big one.
Yes. Well, let's talk about some horror stories. Do you have some dating horror stories with diabetes, or have you been lucky enough to meet people that are understanding and open-minded?
Kind of. So, like I said, I've struggled with, at first, like finding my confidence with diabetes. And obviously that went into the dating world. Like, I'd kind of be confident with myself, but then it's like, okay, how do I portray this to like someone completely new that I don't know? And so, like, with that, I mean, I've kind of done it like both ways where I was like dating a guy for literally like 3 months, or well, I dated him for a while, but for the first 3 months, like I did not tell him I had diabetes. Like I hid it for 3 months. And for first of all, like it was, I'm going to say like, it was it was unhealthy for me because like I wasn't, actively checking as much as I should. And like, but I was just scared. I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to tell someone. So I'd always hide it. And so kind of like, this is just like a funny kind of story, but like, we were kind of like cuddling on the couch, like just hanging out. And like my phone, it was like in my purse, like across the room. And obviously like I had my like CGM on and it was Bluetooth to my phone, and like I was high. So my like high alarm like kept going off like every like other like minute. It was just like nonstop. And it was like way over there and we were cuddling. I was like, oh, like how do I go? Like, I don't know. Like I was just trying to figure it out. And he was like, wow, like you're really popular. Like you have like, do you want to check your phone? Like you have a lot of texts. Like, is something wrong? And I was like, well, yeah, I am a like popular girl. I'm busy. And people want to get a hold of me.
Let's go with that story.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So I just kind of like played it off like that, but that's just like a silly story. And then like horror story wise, like I have been blessed. I would say that like I haven't met anyone that's like straight up rude that would say anything. I feel like kind of, I mean, when you're first talking to someone, you can kind of like weed those weird people out. But like there are the people that, you know, you don't know how they're going to react to that certain kind of thing. So like one date I went on with a guy, it was like our second date. And yet again, I didn't tell him I had diabetes yet. But he was like, it was kind of end of the day. Like we had a good day, and then, like he was happy and fine. And he was walking me up to my door, and like, he kind of just, I was kind of wearing a long sleeve shirt like this, but he kind of like held like onto my arm and like felt my CGM. And he was like, looking at me, he was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, like I have type 1 diabetes. Like this is my like medical device. It helps me with my blood sugar. And like, you know, I don't know what went through his mind, but like literally right then and there, like I saw his like face drop, and like he got like really quiet, and it was just a really awkward moment. I don't know. Like, I feel like if that were to come up, that were to happen, I feel like someone would be like, oh, like, tell me more about that, or oh, like that's cool, like I don't know, just say something about it. But he literally just like said nothing, and like it was just very, it just turned very awkward, and like his like personality changed. Like, so I don't, I like, I to this day, like I don't know what it was, but to me is I felt like really kind of like devastated. Like, so he got me to my door, and then like, so we had that awkward encounter, and like we kissed goodbye, but it was like a quick little like peck, and then I closed the door, and I literally just started crying. I was like, it was just, I just felt so uncomfortable. It was just a weird exchange, and I was like, yeah, it was just, I don't know what happened, but I just remember that moment, and I just felt so like just not good about myself. And then, you know, it just, I had to realize, you know, the next day, like that was about him. Like, it's not about me. Like, good riddance in a way. Like, if he like felt weird about it, could have talked to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, it could have just, it obviously could have been something else, but you never know. But
and you know, it's people process information so differently too. And what something that may have obviously made you feel like bad about yourself could have just been him, like literally, like maybe he doesn't even know what type 1 diabetes is or what it entails, or there's such a lack of awareness. And I'm sure so many other people have been in that same mind space of like, what is this person thinking? Like, is their reaction showing some sort of like negative feeling towards me? And I think that's another reason why talking about dating with diabetes and being intimate with diabetes, I think, is important, because if you don't talk about it, people aren't going to know about it.
He might have taken that experience and learned from it, and maybe in the future maybe he educated himself to kind of what a CGM is and what it does, and so now he's going to react a little bit differently when he's encountered in that situation again in the future. Right. Hopefully so, anyway.
Yeah.
How did you bring up diabetes with your current partner?
With him, like, with him, it was so like natural, and to me, I feel like that's kind of the best way for me to bring up diabetes in general. But so me and my fiance now, like we met randomly, like camping out in the desert. I went with my friend to go camping, and he went with his friend to go camping. And like I went with my friend, we're gonna like, and she was like, we're gonna have a fun like girls weekend, like it'll just be us, like it'll be nice. But then lo and behold, like we get to our spot, and like so it ended up like with me, my friend, and like him and his friend, like we ended up like sharing a like campsite and like a bonfire. So like we started talking just kind of like the bonfire, and it like kind of naturally happened that way. But like during that weekend, like I was wearing, it was hot, so I was wearing like a short sleeve shirt, so I had my CGM showing. So it was just kind of like naturally already there. So then he kind of was like, oh, like, you know, what are you wearing, or like what is that? And I'm like, oh, like I have diabetes, this is what it is. And so, yeah, it just kind of naturally came about.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's always such a good way of doing it. Just like, you do your routine and like, it naturally brings up conversation. And it was nice because like he like was genuinely like interested like in it too. Like afterwards he was like, oh, like what does that do? Like how do you feel? Like I don't know. It was good.
I think being open about it just like opens the door to just curiosity, right? Because when you don't share and then it comes out of nowhere, you might process it differently than if like, yeah, the first time I met this girl, she was doing her thing, not even worried about it. And I think that kind of opens the line of communication a little bit.
And it goes
Definitely.
hand in hand with confidence too, because then it kind of comes across that it's not something you're ashamed of, you're not hiding. It's a part of you as much as you are out in a girl camping out in the middle of the desert, which heck yeah, that sounds like an awesome time. So it's just a part of life, basically.
Totally, yeah. And I always thought too, it's like how you explain or present your diabetes to someone is the way like they're gonna like receive it. So like if you're, you know, not kind of like nonchalant about it, acting natural, like doing your natural routine, like they're gonna perceive it that way, and they're gonna be like, oh, cool, like it's just gonna be natural in a way.
Yeah.
But you like start off and like telling him like I don't know how scary and dangerous and like or I don't know, is putting it off in that kind of like or bad, negative, scary way, like then it's
Yeah.
gonna be perceived that way. And like obviously you tell them the dangers of it later, but the first impression kind of like what you want to present it as is important.
Yeah. People definitely like feed off that energy.
Yeah.
What are some green flags that you had instead of red flags that you had with your partner? It sounds like from the get-go, like communication just felt natural. Like what are I guess maybe even some advice you might have for people dating with diabetes and what to look for?
Yeah. I would say like, I mean, with my fiance, like I said, when I would talk about it, he was like genuinely interested in it. He actively like asked questions and like how, he wants to learn about it. Like even I'm like kind of just doing my own thing. He was like, wait, like what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like I want to know. And I'm like, oh, okay, like here we go. I'll show you like what everything means. And I just think that just is like such a good sign, that they genuinely care about you, and like they don't care about the diabetes, but they care about you, and like they want to, because you're doing it, they want to know too. And like I would be, in the morning or in the middle of the night, like very low in bed, and like I would wake him up or whatever, and he would go to the fridge for me and grab me like juice, and I'm like, it's just little things like that it just like really, those are good green flags.
Yeah.
And like one time, like we went out to dinner, like a little date night dinner, to a restaurant down the street from like our apartment, and like I left my insulin at home, and like we already sat down, we like we're having like a margarita and chips, and like I was trying to like bolus for like the chips, and I was like, wait, I forgot my insulin, like this is so annoying, like I was so pissed off, and I was like, I just ruined our date night. And he was like, no, it's okay, like I will go back, you sit here, I'll go back for insulin. And like he went all the way back home, grabbed my insulin for me, and then came back, and like we just enjoyed our like date night together, like just yeah, and just like really nice things like that there are people like that out there, and it's important to be able to find those and cherish that.
Do you think he has kind of picked up telltale signs? Like, does he know if you're kind of trending high or trending low, but depending on how you're acting, or can he tell at this point a little bit?
Kind of, yeah. Definitely, like if like I'm kind of irritable and like even just kind of like sleepy and like groggy in a way, like he kind of knows like something's up, like you high, like you're not feeling good, like what's going on. And definitely like with lows too, like I said, I have my CGM, so like if I have like the urgent, low alarm go off, like he knows that specific sound. And so he hears it and he's like, do you want me to get you something? He's like, he'll be in the other room and he'll go off and he's like, juice time. I'm like, got it.
That's awesome.
I have a friend, and she was going through some burnout phases several years ago, and her partner, I think, was, whether she admits it or not, but a big piece in helping her manage it, because she like was kind of avoiding checking and all of that kind of stuff. So, and her boyfriend would bring her supplies to her, and just try and make it feel like easy. And I think even sometimes he would test her at night when she was sleeping. So I think it's very important, like you said, to have somebody who's supportive and that cares about you specifically, doesn't care about the diabetes, but cares about your wellness. So
yeah, absolutely
great to find that support.
Yeah. He was like, can I try to give you a shot? And I'm like,
oh,
it's good for you, I guess, to kind of learn just in case you need to, like, know, like it's little things like that. But it's so great to have something, supportive like that can do things for you.
And it makes you feel a little less alone, I think, when you have a partner that's sitting there kind of going through the experience with you. I mean, of course, they don't have to live with it or deal with it, but they at least kind of understand what you're going through and want to be supportive in any way that they can be possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Has he successfully been able to give you an insulin shot?
I mean, with me, like coaching him through it, and like he knows how to
be able to just
he doesn't know the like unit amounts yet or anything like that, but like he knows how to like take the cap off and like press the button. Like he gets that much, but he doesn't know doesn't quite get the ratios yet, or still kind of. I mean, I can barely get it sometimes too. So that's.
Yep, I think the phrase goes around, it's more of an art than a science. So exactly.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, and he's put on my like CGM for me a bunch of times, like on my arm. Like he likes doing inserting it for me. So like, great. Thanks.
You basically have a live-in assistant now.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I love it. Well, I think we covered it. I think we did a good job of, I think, kind of going through some both positive and negative scenarios, how to deal. And also, I think just uncovering the fact that like sharing about your diabetes journey up front and being careless about treating yourself and confident about the way you go about life with diabetes, I think is important and kind of the point of our conversation today. Before I bid you guys adieu, I do want to share with everyone that you have a coupon code with us. Type 1, Type Happy gets you 10% off of your Gentile Lansing device. And we just love seeing you enjoy it and having it make your treatment just a little bit brighter, hopefully, and of course, less painful.
Absolutely. Yep. Always got it with me.
Yeah, I love it. Well, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. This will be going up on Valentine's Day, so I hope you guys have a good one. And thank you again, Gretchen, so much for hopping on. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and I know we were both super excited to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me, and so good to finally meet you guys face to face, and happy Valentine's Day to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gretchen.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.